Today on Answers with Bayless Conley.
The season we're in right now of economic turmoil and fear that has gripped the world. My friend, things will change. It's a season. Things will change, but our God remains the same, and His promises can be trusted.
Hi, I'm Bayless Conley. In life, we all face uncertainty, whether it's financial troubles, relationship valleys, a health crisis, or just trying to discover your purpose. One thing is for certain, God sees you. He loves you, and no matter what you're facing, He has the answers.
I want to talk to you today about having strength for troubled times. I know that there are some of you, you feel like the life has been pressed out of you. You're carrying a weight that you've never known before and you can't seem to escape. Others are facing different trials in your life and you feel like if you get hit by one more wave, you're going to go down. Well, I want to tell you, God has strength for you today. It's not a coincidence that you're listening. God has a word for you. In here, God has a word for you. You know, in Acts chapter 14, Paul and Barnabas have been on their first missionary journey. And they've won souls. They've established churches. They've worked miracles. But they've also been misunderstood and worshiped as gods. They were expelled from a region. They were violently assaulted. They had been maligned. And they had been assaulted and opposed. And at one point in Lystra, an angry mob, took Paul out of the city and stoned him and left him for dead. But God raised him up. They went to the next town, and we read this in Acts 14:21. And when they had preached the gospel to that city and made many disciples, they returned to Lystra, where he'd been stoned, Iconium, and Antioch, strengthening the souls of the disciples, exhorting them to continue in the faith, and saying, we must, through many tribulations, enter the kingdom of God. I love this. They went back, they strengthened the souls of the disciples and exhorted them to continue. Well, that's what I want to do. I want to strengthen your soul. And I want to exhort you to continue believing that God is good. Continue coming to gather with God's family. Continue to worship, regardless of the fact that you may be in the midst of the biggest troubles that you have ever experienced in your life. Continue to pursue spiritual things. Continue to expect to see God's hand revealed in your life, even in the midst of troubles. In fact, I want to just simply share with you 4 soul-strengthening thoughts. Are you ready? All right, thought number 1. We have been told in advance that we will experience tribulations and troubles. We've been told in advance. It has been predicted that the way is narrow and sometimes quite difficult. I mean, we just read Acts 14 and verse 22. We must go through many tribulations. We must as we enter the kingdom of God. Jesus said in John 16:33, in the world you will have tribulation, but be of good cheer, I have overcome the world. But notice how it was put. They strengthened the souls of the disciples and told them we must go through many tribulations, not pitch a tent and dwell there perpetually. We're going through them. You may be going through something right now. Well, you're not going to stay there, friend. You're going to get through. In fact, tell your friend, tell your neighbor, God's taking me through. Yeah, God's bringing me through. I'm not there forever. He's bringing me through the trouble. He's bringing me through the trial. Now, I want to read to you from 1 Thessalonians 3, verses 1 to 5. It talks about this, but there's something inserted there that is very important to understand. 1 Thessalonians 3 and 1. Therefore, when we could no longer endure it, we thought it good to be left in Athens alone, and sent Timothy, our brother and minister of God, and our fellow laborer in the gospel of Christ, to establish you and encourage you concerning your faith, that no one should be shaken by these afflictions, for you yourselves know that we are appointed to this. For in fact, we told you before when we were with you that we would suffer tribulation just as it happened. And you know, for this reason, when we could no longer endure it, I sent to know your faith, lest by some means the tempter had tempted you, and our labor might be in vain. When trouble comes, the tempter is always right there. He said, we told you there was going to be trouble. We told you, we're appointed to this. It's part of the journey. But then he said, we couldn't endure it. We had to know how you're doing, lest the tempter had tempted you. When you're in the midst of trouble, when you're going through a rough patch, the devil is always right there to whisper in your ear, God doesn't care. God's not good. In fact, God is cruel if he would allow something like this to happen. It doesn't pay to serve God. God is a liar, and his word can't be trusted. Faith is worthless. You should just give it all up. No, my friend, trials are a part of the journey. And just because you're going through one does not mean that God is not with you and that he's not working on your behalf. Listen to this, 1 Peter 4:12 from the Message. Friends, when life gets really difficult, don't jump to the conclusion that God isn't on the job. Even if you were caught off guard by your troubles, God was not. Nothing takes him by surprise. As it's been sagely asked, has it ever occurred to you that nothing occurs to God? Nothing ever takes him by surprise, which is how he can make all things work together for our good. That means he puts provision ahead of time in the midst of the trouble for us. Think about Joseph and his many troubles. God had hidden provision in all of it, and through all of it, his purpose was worked. Because of what Joseph went through, he learned to speak and read and write the Egyptian language. Because of what he went through, he learned to develop management skills that he would need. Because of what he went through, he ultimately was brought before Pharaoh, and God used him to save his family and much of the known world. My friend, God is not taken by surprise at your troubles. Not with the things that are going on in the world, not with the things that are going on in your personal life. And he wants to help you. He has provision for you in the middle of this, and he wants to work purpose out through you in the middle of everything that's going on. Here's the second thought. Trials are spoken of as being seasonal in Scripture. Seasonal. 1 Peter 1:6-7. In this you greatly rejoice, though now for a little while, if need be, you've been grieved by various trials, that the genuineness of your faith, being much more precious than gold that perishes, though it is tested by fire, may be found to praise, honor, and glory at the revelation of Jesus Christ. In other words, stay firm, stay the course, remain firm to the end, ever trusting, ever pursuing, even though for a little while, it says, you're grieved because of various trials, different kinds of trials. It may be financial, it may be emotional, it may be physical, maybe the temptation to sin. He said, for a little while. And I love the King James Version. It says, though now for a season, you are in heaviness because of these various trials. Everybody say a season. You know, all seasons have a beginning and an ending. They're not perpetual. Recently, I took the two oldest grandsons to Montana with me. Stayed with some friends. And it was a blistering 7 degrees in the morning when we would get up. It eventually warmed up to about 19 degrees in the afternoon. And one morning, Asher, the oldest grandson, wanted to go outside and see how cold it felt. So he went outside barefooted in his pajamas, 7-degree weather. I'd looked at the thermometer. And as every little brother should, Sawyer, his younger brother, snuck up behind him and locked the door behind him. So Asher's trying to get back in. He's barefooted in his PJs and it's 7 degrees out. And he's banging on the door saying, let me in. And Sawyer's laughing. And being the good grandfather that I am, I immediately got my phone and videoed it. It was glorious. And then when we let him back in, I decided we're going to have a contest. Both of you are going to go out barefooted in your PJs. And so I set the timer on my phone. We had a contest to see who could last the longest in the 7-degree weather. We had a lot of fun. But you know what? Eventually started warming up. In the mornings we're getting up, it was 20 degrees in the morning. Warmed up to 50 in the afternoon. You know, things change. Seasons change. Winter doesn't stay winter forever. Winter ends. Summer ends. Trials are seasonal. They don't last forever. Now, some seasons last longer than we would like, but they're not forever. The season we're in right now of economic turmoil and fear that has gripped the world, my friend, things will change. It's a season. Things will change, but our God remains the same, and his promises can be trusted. And though things may last longer than we would like, God will take care of us in the midst of it as long as we continue to seek his kingdom first and keep our focus on Jesus. He will not leave us. He will not forsake us. He will take care of us. Brings me to a third thought for you. Don't lose heart because of delays. When things seem to be lasting longer than you thought they would. When it seems like God is not paying attention to your own personal timetable. You ever notice that God very rarely consults us concerning timing? Now, he can be trusted, his word is true, but he works everything according to the counsel of his own will. Sometimes things take longer. Sometimes there's delays. There's a wonderful story told in Numbers 20 and 21. Moses and the Israelites have left Egypt. They're heading to the promised land. And the most direct route in the promised land is through the land of Edom. That shouldn't be a problem. The Edomites are actually their blood relatives. The Edomites are all the descendants of Esau, while the Israelites are all the descendants of Jacob, 2 brothers. And you listen to the language. Moses sends a word to the king of Edom, says, brother, we're on your border. Please let us pass through. We won't go in your orchards. We won't go in your vineyards. We won't even drink water out of your wells. We're just going to the land that God promised our father Abraham. And the king of Edom sends back, says, you're not going through my land or I'm going to fight you. Moses sends a second appeal and he says, brother, you know all the trouble that we had for all of those years in Egypt. Please, we'll stay on the highway, and if we drink any water, we will pay you for the water we drink. And the king of Edom came out with his army. He says, don't even try. So Moses and the Israelites pack up, and rather than going directly into the promised land, now they have to go the long way around the land of Edom. Listen, the destination is the same, but the arrival time has been delayed. And I know some of you, you thought surely your husband would be with you with his arms lifted high, worshiping God in church. But he's not. It's been delayed. You thought surely you would be through this physical affliction by now, but it's been delayed. Friend, the destination's the same. God's word is true. Maybe you thought that your kids would be out of that crazy, lifestyle they're in. Maybe some kind of a mindset they picked up in university, and it seems like they've almost altogether abandoned their Christian principles. You think, what in the heck has happened to my child? And you've prayed. Listen, the destination is the same. God's word is true. The arrival time may have been delayed. Don't lose heart. Because the Israelites, it says that as they went around the land of Edom, the soul of the people became discouraged, and they began to complain against God and against Moses. They said, this is your fault, Moses. And they complained against God, and they said, this stupid manna, it's worthless. Friend, you really do have a problem when you begin to complain about the provision God gives you. They said, Moses, you brought us out here to kill us. God brought us out here to kill us. That was his intention. He doesn't care. He's not good. And all the while, God has protected them in the wilderness. There were serpents. Fiery serpents is what the scripture calls them. They're actually carpet vipers. They're still there to this day. It says in Deuteronomy 28 that it was a land that was filled with those serpents. But when they began to complain and speak the devil's language, God's protecting hand lifted from them. And the Bible says many of the Israelites were bitten by the serpents. Many people died. And they came to Moses and they said, Moses, we spoke against God, against you. We repent. Please go to the Lord for us. Now here's the important thing about that story. It's actually spoken of in the New Testament, and it says it's been written for us. Listen to this, 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verses 9 and 10. It says, nor let us tempt Christ, as some of them also tempted and were destroyed by serpents. Nor complain, as some of them also complained and were destroyed by the destroyer. Don't complain. The serpent is a type of the devil. When you begin to complain, it opens the door to the devil. And it said, let's not tempt Christ. And that word literally means to sit as a judge over him. That we critically scrutinize God and his involvement and his timing concerning our troubles. And we say, look, you're not on the job. You're not doing this right. And we set ourselves up as some kind of a judge where we critically scrutinize our Creator regarding his involvement and the way that he's bringing things about. My friend, that will open the door to the serpent. And the truth is, there are some of God's people that are more than just discouraged on the way because of delays. They're snake bit. The poison of the serpent has already taken effect. A bitterness has seized their heart. Resentment, irrational anger at leaders in the church and at God. And Satan is always right there to blow things far out of proportion and to take our troubles to a whole nother level if we let him. Well, what do you do when things are taking longer than you'd hoped? When it seems like your answer is suspended on some distant horizon and it's not moving towards you at all? Well, you stay in the faith and you stay in the Word. The Word of God both creates and holds faith up. Gather regularly with your brothers and sisters and worship your heart out. And gather with men and women of faith. I'm telling you, that can save your life. What is the spiritual antivenom? You know, in the story with Moses and the Israelites, Moses goes to God and God said, okay, Moses, make a serpent of bronze and put it up on a pole. And it'll come to pass that everyone that looks at that serpent of bronze with a steady and absorbing gaze, they'll live. And the people that looked at that serpent of bronze, they lived. They were healed from their snake bites. Now here's the thing. Jesus actually refers to that in John 3 and 14. Yes, 2 verses before John 3:16. He said, as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up. Friend, your answer and my answer when we're in the midst of trouble, if we've opened the door to the serpent, we need to look to Christ and his finished work on Calvary. Jesus is the answer. He is all we need, and we need to put our attention on him. Which brings me to the final thought I have for you, is these current difficulties point to Christ's return. You know, the disciples and Jesus, they're leaving Jerusalem and they comment on the stones and the beauty of the temple. And they ask him, said, Lord, what's going to be the sign of the end of the age? And what will be the sign of your return? Now, they had a very limited understanding. They were thinking, Lord, when are you going to come and throw Rome down and take over as the rightful Messiah? And Jesus knew they didn't have an understanding beyond that. And so he answered their question, and he gave answers of things that were directly on the horizon, things that were about to happen, which all came to pass. But he gave a layered answer So he speaks to our generation as well. When they asked about the sign of his coming, Jesus talked about things that would happen in the future. The sign when he would come back, because they didn't know he was going to ascend into heaven and that there would be a second advent, a second coming of Christ to this earth. And this is what Jesus answered and said to them. What's the sign of your coming? Verse 25 of Luke 21. And there will be signs in the sun, in the moon, and in the stars, and on earth distress of nations with perplexity. The sea and the waves roaring, speaking of people being in an upheaval. Men's hearts failing them for fear and the expectation of those things which are coming on the earth. Does that sound familiar? Like, what is going to happen? What's going to happen in our nation? What's going to happen in the future? What's going to happen globally? What are things going to look like tomorrow, next week, next year? Jesus spoke of those things. He went on and he said, for the powers of the heavens will be shaken, then they will see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. Now, when these things begin to happen, look up, lift up your heads because your redemption draws near. He said, when they begin to happen, lift up your head, look for his return. Friend, they haven't begun to happen. They've already happened. The Amplified Bible puts one of those verses this way, verse 25, as a sign of his return. He said, nations will be in bewilderment and perplexity, without resources, left wanting, embarrassed, in doubt, not knowing which way to turn. My friend, Jesus is coming soon. And the things that are happening that have never happened before, they are precursors to his imminent return. And you know, Janet and I, we're pretty much opposites. I know all these dating sites and stuff now that you like got to tick off like 15 things that you have in common. Janet and I never would have got together, ever. Because I think opposites just work really well together. We complement one another. And she is very organized and she loves to have things planned out. I mean, to the smallest detail. And I like planning, but I'm also very spontaneous. Very different, than her. I've had to learn to deal with the minutia of her planning, and she's had to learn to deal with my spontaneity. And on occasion, I'll call her and I say, hey, babe, I invited so-and-so and his wife to come over and hang out and get something to eat. She says, okay, great, when? I said, well, they're actually in the car with me right now. We'll be there in about 10. And she's like, what? Bayless? And she goes into absolute panic mode because she wants everything to be ready. All the pillows there and some candles lit. And I'm just like, hey, make yourself at home. I think we got some leftover chicken in the fridge. And she says, your family, let's hang out. I don't care if everything's not perfect, but different for her. Well, you know what? Jesus has made the call. He said, when you see these things happening, people in upheaval, the nation's not knowing what to do, people's hearts failing them. They're fearful about the things that are coming on the world. He said, when those things happen, you better lift up your head and look. Friend, he's calling. He said, I'm on my way. I'm on my way. This is not a day to be playing out on, the edges somewhere. This is a day to be all in for Jesus, my friend. It's a day to be living for him with all of your heart and all of your soul.
The truth is, God does have strength for us in troubled times. The scripture says, let him take hold of my strength. That's what the Lord says to us. But it is so important that we go all in for God. We shouldn't look at our relationship with God as sort of a button that we push in times of need, and then, if we're not in trouble, that we just sort of go about our lives and God's just in the background somewhere. He's not, a parachute for troubled times. He's not some rabbit that you pull out of a hat when you're in crisis. Friend, we need to live for him. The Bible says the just shall live by faith in a God that we believe in, that maybe we can't see, but we know He's there, and we know that He loves us. And maybe you're in a crisis. Maybe you're in a troubled time right now. Yes, God wants to help you. Yes, He's for you. But I would say begin by giving your heart to Him. In fact, why don't you pray with me right now? Just say Jesus. Go ahead and say it out loud wherever you are. Just say, Jesus, come into my life. I give you my heart. I give you my soul. Thank you for dying for me and being raised from the dead. Amen. I also want to say thanks to those that pray for this broadcast. It goes around the world and impacts people. Thank you to those that give consistently. We couldn't do what we do. We couldn't go where we go without faithful partners. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We have a daily email devotional that I believe can be of great benefit to you. You know, when we take God's Word in every day, it helps us become established in the Lord.
Make room in your daily schedule for God's Word by signing up for Bayless's devotionals, available on your phone, tablet, or PC.
Take time to sow the seeds of God's Word into your life every day with this free email devotional.
One person catches the vision. Others join in. The objective is huge. As others are included using their gifts and influence, good progress can be made together. In the church, there is only steady and lasting progress as each generation builds up, supports, and encourages the next. In his book, From Generation to Generation, Bayless Conley outlines the role, responsibility, and opportunity each generation has to connect and build God's church together. Glean from Bayless's experience and practical advice. Use the information on the screen now to order your copy of From Generation to Generation.